Hey there, in this video I'm going to be answering all of the questions that were asked on my previous video celebrating 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Without further ado, let's get started.
Break the Twitch.
The first question from Mira Emilia. What got you interested in this lifestyle, minimalism, etc.? What was the trigger that got you into this? And how will you celebrate when this channel reaches 10,000 subscribers? Great question, thank you. I suppose what kind of set me off in the direction of minimalism and intentional living was a few different things. It wasn't any one thing all at once, but different stages. So, for example, the book The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss was one of the first things that I read about lifestyle design and really introduced me to this concept of separating income from hours worked. It was one of the first introductions that I really got to the idea of building a life that wasn't dependent on necessarily 40 hours a week of work. Now, I work a lot more than that now based on the work that I do with Break the Twitch and making these videos, but I do believe that when you're working on something that you're passionate about and something you would do anyway, it's not really work. So that was the beginning of that cycle. And then I was introduced by my friend Joel Zaslowski to an event that he ran called Simple Rev. And Simple Rev was an event where I met Joshua Becker of becomingminimalist.com and was really introduced into this whole simple living minimalism lifestyle. It was that introduction that really got me excited about understanding my relationship with stuff, and that also solidified this realization that I had about all this spending that I was doing on Amazon and how that was affecting my life. Essentially, I was making these small purchases every day almost that added up to a lot of money over time. And those small actions were not reflecting my actual values. I really wanted to travel. I valued free time and autonomy and being able to kind of control the things that I make and work on things that really mattered to me. But my spending or those small actions were not aligning with that vision. So it kind of took all of those things coming together over the course of time to build up and create my current belief and understanding about why intentional living is important and why all of this stuff matters to me. So how I'll celebrate when I get to 10,000 subscribers, I'll definitely do another Q&A because this is super fun. I may do another one before then just to kind of keep this going because I really enjoy it. But I don't know, that's a good question. Maybe we'll take a trip somewhere or do something fun like that to celebrate 10,000 subscribers. But honestly, my aspirations for Break the Twitch is bigger than that. I hope that we get to 100,000 subscribers, not because that's a number I'm attached to, but because I think this is a really important movement and I want to share it with more and more people over time. Thanks for your question. Next question from Darren Southworth. What was your life before minimalism? What was the event that started you on this path? So to add on to the previous answer, I would say that my life looked a lot like buying a bunch of random stuff that wasn't very important to me. And also it was being involved in a lot of different projects and saying yes to way too many things and not finishing most of them. So minimalism has also led me down the path of reducing the things that I'm focusing on to really add significance. It takes a lot of time to build a project like Break the Twitch or anything that you really want to make. So continually, I'm just working on fewer projects and putting more time and energy into all of them. Next question from Shoeless Joe, who has a great YouTube channel, by the way. Definitely check his channel out. Do you think minimalism is for everyone? And I will directly say yes. I think minimalism is for everyone. It's just going to look very different depending on who practices it. Why wouldn't you want to promote the things that are most important to you and remove the clutter that distracts you from it? I think everyone can apply the principles of minimalism to their own lives and benefit from it. The next question comes from Jay at Home. Hopefully I'm saying that right. How can I convince my husband that we don't need an actual TV in our living room? So that's a really tough one because it has to do with influencing someone else's beliefs about how they should be spending their own time. What I would say is try to find the underlying reason. So the reason you don't want a TV and a reason that your husband might want a TV, and see what you can do to align those underlying values. If it comes down to needing a way to decompress after coming home from work, then maybe you can find a different way to supplement that while still meeting that need without having the TV. It's most likely not the TV necessarily as much as it is the underlying need for the purpose that the TV is currently serving. So I would try to find a way to align those interests and do the best you can to meet him on the other side. Next question from My Crown Star. Minimalism seems to have really picked up steam in recent years. Is there any data on specific groups, age, income level, class, nationality, that in particular seem to have embraced this lifestyle the most? I'd be interested in hearing from some older, more established minimalists. By older, I mean couples with kids, maybe tweens or early teens, and how do they teach their children about consuming less in a society that is so much for more? Well, what I would say is there are some blog posts, specifically one by Joshua Becker on becomingminimalist.com, that really highlights the statistics about consumption. So the other side of that. I don't know that there have been any studies specifically about minimalism or simple living that really break it down by nationality or gender or income class. But I know that it is definitely growing in its momentum of people embracing this lifestyle. Who I would recommend for minimalists or simple living enthusiasts with kids would be Evelyn over at smallishblog.com, Joshua Becker at becomingminimalist.com, or Leo Babauta, obviously, at zenhabits.net, all whom have children and write about simple living, minimalism, and embracing that sort of lifestyle. The next question is from Kristen. How do you deal with family that have competing values on minimalism and intentional living? So I just did a video about this very recently, which I will link to in the description of this video. But basically, I would say it's best to be living proof of what's possible with your new lifestyle change. Also being patient and kind, because it can be really hard to make the shift out of consumer culture. Consumerism is deeply rooted in our global culture at this point, and it can be really hard to take an opposing view and really break into it if you're still stuck in that kind of other mentality. So be patient and do what you can, because most of the time people that want to give gifts and things that might not align with your beliefs, it's just out of love and how they're used to showing love. So being patient, but also being living proof of what's possible with your new lifestyle that you've created for yourself. All right, Anarchy Snake, which is a fantastic name, by the way. Congrats. How do you survive Christmas as a minimalist and the consumer nightmare that it has become without appearing to be a Scrooge? It's a great question. And to add on to what I was saying in the previous answer, I'll say that you can really try to connect with people on the principles of what Christmas and these holidays were actually supposed to be about, which is reconnecting with family, spending time together. And the best way to do that would be for you to take the initiative to suggest ways for you to do things together that don't involve the craziness of going to malls and frantically shopping for everyone in your family. All the things that really now add stress to what the original purpose was. Next question is from my buddy William. Hey, William. What has been one possession you found the hardest to let go of when you started on your journey to becoming a minimalist? I would say that the hardest thing for me was books, because I used to buy a lot of books out of hope. Books for me were sort of dreams and aspirations for things that I wanted to learn, things that I wanted to be. And so getting rid of those books, realizing that I was never going to read it or never going to finish reading it, or most likely never go back to it, was one of the hardest things for me. And I'm still sort of sorting through even the core books that I have and getting rid of the ones that I know I'm not going to go back to. So that was probably one of the hardest things, because it's almost like giving up on that aspiration by getting rid of that book. The next question is from Taylor Nicole. My question I want to know is, what is the hardest thing for you to declutter, and were you able to complete that task? For me, it is my bookshelf. Taylor, so that is exactly the same for me as I just kind of mentioned in the last answer. It was books, because they weren't just books. They were aspirations about things I wanted to learn, things I wanted to be. And so it was kind of like letting go of that aspiration, which made it really difficult. So books were definitely the hardest thing for me as well. About decluttering, it wasn't hard for me to decide what to get rid of. Keeping only what I need was easy. The hard part came when I actually had to get the stuff out of my house. For example, DVDs. I feel guilty giving them or selling them because I feel I'm only passing my clutter to someone else. So here's what I would say about that. Essentially, just because something doesn't have value to you or is taking up space that you want to have back doesn't mean it won't be valuable to someone else. The fact is, giving away your stuff is a great way to give something that you own a new life. Someone else might spend time with those DVDs, really enjoy watching them, perhaps with their children or friends, and it could create an experience for someone else. And it is up to them to decide when those things no longer add value to their lives. So you definitely should not feel guilty about giving your things to other people who want them. There's a common expression that says one man's trash is another man's treasure, and I think that's really true. Next one is from You Timeful, a good friend of mine. What do you think is the biggest reason for your success? Is it a particular mindset, daily action, book you read, interaction, etc.? Is this what will take you to the next level? So what I will say is the YouTube channel specifically did not really start growing until I started becoming more consistent with my videos. So uploading 2 every single week and just hitting those deadlines to make sure that I was shipping. Each time you do that, I found that I just am getting better and better with doing it. And also the planning and preparation. So I've been brainstorming more. My wife, Amy, has been helping coming up with ideas and different angles for these videos. And so it's just taken more time and energy to create them. And I hope that it is that continues to allow me to go to the next level and build success upon what we're doing. Eventually getting better and better with each video and providing more useful, helpful information. All right, so from Simply D, I'm starting a new blog and would love to know the strategies you use to build an audience for your blog. What I would say the best thing to do is to pick one specific area and write about that for as long as you can. Trust me, you will have opportunities to expand what you talk about over time, but it's super important that you establish yourself in a space. Now, this is more specifically if you want to build a blog that grows and gets a big following. It's the first 1,000 followers that are always the hardest. But if you can pick a niche, you can build up that audience and just kind of grow it over time. The other thing I do is connect with other creators. So reach out to me on Twitter or other people that are doing things that you want to do as well. And then you can share each other's work, and it really helps a lot building the process along the way. The next question is from The Second Sunrise. Do you ever have to sit down and brainstorm video ideas, or are you overwhelmed with lots of ideas all the time? So I often sit down and brainstorm ideas with my wife, Amy, and we sit down and kind of come up with ideas, but sometimes I'll just be really on fire about something that I want to talk about, and I'll go down and set up the camera and just flow with that idea. So it really depends on the day. Sometimes things take more preparation, more planning, and then other times I'll just have a topic that I really want to get out there, and I'll sit down, record it, and it might take some additional processing in post to make it more cohesive to finish the video. But in general, I wouldn't say I'm brimming with ideas all the time. We definitely do have to do brainstorming, but sometimes things just come up and I go to record them. Next up, we have Andrew. Hey, Anthony, greetings from England. Hello. My question is, how do you deal with ignorant yet hurtful comments left by nasty, sad people to your videos? You know, I'd be lying if I said that negative comments don't affect me. Obviously, I'm human, and it doesn't feel good to have people say mean things about things that I make. It does happen every now and then, and kind of I've had to realize that it's much easier to kick over someone else's sandcastle than to build your own. Anytime you make yourself vulnerable by putting something out there that you have made, means that you're putting your work out there to have other people see and comment on. And that means anyone can leave those comments. So whether you delete or block them, I don't know if that matters, but I think removing some of that negativity can help prevent further negativity, kind of moderating the community on your YouTube videos. But the other thing is just keep making. Surround yourself with people that give you constructive criticism, that give you feedback about what you're doing and how you can make it better, and just listen to those people and then keep running your race. Because none of the stuff that people say that is hurtful, who you don't know, that are just really saying those things because they have their own issues that they're dealing with, those don't matter. So keep doing what you're doing and don't let it discourage you, for sure. Next up from Pofila. Hey, Anthony, congrats. I've been following you for quite a while. I have seen your comments and I really do appreciate them. Thank you for being along on this journey with me. I'm pretty intimidated by putting my own content online. So I have a twofold question for you. Did you ever encounter a difficult negative comment, and how did it make you feel, and how did you deal with it? So yes, I've definitely gotten negative comments on my blog posts and on some of my videos. I will say they are relatively rare, but here's how I like to think about this. As I mentioned in the previous answer, what you're doing is what matters. And if you surround yourself with the people that will give you constructive criticism, those are the people you should rely on, the people that will help you get better, not just people who are out to put you down. It affects me just like anyone else. Like I said, I'm human, but I think it's most important that you do what you want to do and you don't let those things affect you. Most importantly, I would say that when someone does attack you in that way, or if someone puts those kind of sad comments or kind of nasty comments on your videos, what it means is that you're standing for something and you've put something out there that drives up a feeling in someone else. And that's really all we're doing, right? We're putting content out that is intended to make people feel a certain way, maybe question decisions that they've made or help them in some way. And so if you have people that are responding both positively and negatively, it simply means that you are accomplishing that, and that's a beautiful thing. So I would highly encourage you to get your stuff out there, and if I can support you in any way in doing that, please let me know. Okay, from Instagram, Journey to Simple Life says, did you lose some weight on your sugar-free journey? So recently I did a 30-day low sugar kind of challenge where I still ate fruit and things, but no desserts or candy or stuff like that. So yes, I definitely did lose weight. I think, somewhere in the range of 10 to 16 pounds during the last 2 months or so. But what I will say is I've recently shifted that to where I'm following more of the slow carb diet, where I eat relatively low sugar 6 days a week, and I have one day where I eat whatever I want. That feels like a really good balance, and it's been very effective in managing my weight and just managing how I feel. So it's something that I'm going to keep up and hope to see the continued health benefits down the line. I'd highly recommend it for anyone who is looking for a way to maintain a lifestyle instead of doing this whole 30-day diet fad phenomenon kind of thing. Just find something that is a lifestyle you can stick to all the time. That's what's been working really well for me. Okay, from Finding a Way, what is one of your favorite childhood memories? What is one of your favorite smells, and why? I would say that just one of the memories that comes to mind was when I was about 11, my older brother helped me build my first computer. And it was that led me to learn more about building web pages and the internet and all this stuff. And it kind of put me on the path that I'm on today very early on. So that was one that came to mind and I really appreciate. In terms of favorite smells, I love lemon zest and fresh mint. I just really enjoy those smells and I think associate them with food and cooking, which I kind of have this emotional attachment to. So those are my favorite smells. Next question from R&R. Where are the top 10 places you would most like to visit and why? In addition, where have you already traveled to and would you recommend those destinations? Okay, that's a bit of a hard question, but I'll start with where I've been. So I've been to Spain in multiple different places in the country, and it's one of my favorite places in the world. Granada, Spain at the Alhambra is like heaven to me. It's one of my favorite places on earth. So I would definitely recommend going if you can make it to the Alhambra in Granada, Spain. Madrid or other places, they're all wonderful. I had the chance to go to Taiwan with my wife and her family. and my own parents at one point after we got married. And that was a beautiful country as well, with amazing food, and it was just so cool. I really loved it. So those are just a couple places, and I'd highly recommend going to either of those places if you have the opportunity. Where I'd like to go, I'd really love to go to Iceland, and I'd really love to go to Southeast Asia, like Thailand and Cambodia and Vietnam, different places like that. I really want to explore more of Central America and South America. I'd like to go to Peru just to see like Lima and the ruins there, and all kinds of things. Anything that kind of is tied to culture, or the kind of the older type of culture that comes with those places, I think is just really amazing. So I'd like to check out more, but the list is long. There are a lot of places I'd really like to go. Those are just a few of them. All right, and finally, from my friend Nikki, she says, describe your perfect day. What I would say is generally waking up to natural light coming in a window in the morning is just really incredible. Going outside, having a nice breakfast, and then coming in and working on making videos, writing for my blog, and just really focusing on these things I'm super passionate about every day. And then spending time in the evening with my family and with friends, and going into the evening and wrapping up and just kind of doing that all over again. All right, so that concludes the question and answers for the 5,000 subscriber celebration. But before you go, I did have one thing to tell you about. So I recently joined Courtney Carver and a bunch of other friends for something called A Simple Year. And it is a year-long course where different people teach a subject each month. I'll be teaching the month of June about mindfulness. I'm gonna put a link down in the description of this video if you're interested in checking that out, so that you can have a simple year in 2017. Just in case you're interested, that will be there. Thank you so much for all of your questions. I really do appreciate them, and I'll see you in the next video.